Ladies, gentlemen, gamers, and fellow League of Legends enjoyers. Welcome back. We are back once again. It has been 2 weeks since last patch notes, I believe. And we are here to use my Giga Brain to observe Riot's changes and say whether they're cool or not. So, some things to note. I just woke up. It's like 5 o'clock in the afternoon, and I'm finally breaking my sleeping schedule after like a month of being unemployed. So, there's that. I've also changed my summoner name to more accurately reflect who I am. So now, I am Chris Allen, as you can see in the top right corner. And aside from that, this is the last patch of the year, and it's going to include Hui, which I'm very excited for. I'm very excited for Hui. I'm not going to go too much into Hui into this video, just because it's probably going to be long anyway, knowing my stupid ass. But if you want to see more about Hui, I've reacted to him on my channel as well. But we're going to touch on him a little bit. Anyway, regardless, I have some food here. I'm going to be munching on some grapes. I'm very comfortable. I'm very ready. So let's see what Riot is doing. So this is from Riot Riru today. 'Tis the end of the season, so we're happy to wrap things up with 13.24. It's the last patch of the year, and the next time we will hear from Riot will be in patch 14.1 in season 14. So I'm somewhat dreading that patch because I'm going to have to do like God knows how much fucking like introspection into that. Typically my patch notes videos for preseason go at least 2 hours. So I'm very excited, and this preseason is going to be a doozy. So hopefully this patch isn't as big and I get a little break. But we also have time before that happens because I believe that's going to be next year. But we'll see. So the new patch schedule, I'm not sure what it is. I think they might have released it. I don't really care to look. But I know that now we should have been in preseason already. But with the new system Riot's doing, the season basically lasts all year. Like, the season should have ended in November, and it's still going on, which is cool. But it is what it is. I like it personally. Anyway, so patch 14.1 alongside all of the exciting gameplay changes, but that doesn't mean we don't have any presents for you this patch. Ooh, I hope they're good. So our first gift is the newest addition to our roster, the last champion of the year, which unfortunately is not the rework Skarner, because who knows when that's coming. It's Quay, the Visionary. Also, I like to call him Jin's son. With a whole palette of abilities at his disposal because he's an artiste, Quay provides the players the opportunity to flex their big brains, which I have, so I'm going to be playing him, by choosing the perfect ability for each situation, which realistically speaking, that's probably not going to be the case. So if you're interested in complex champions, then this one is for you. And not to toot my own horn, but, you know, I play Aphelios. Anyway, we also have the widely requested return of Arena. With over 180 balance adjustments, Arena's coming back better than ever. I wonder if it's going to be Soul Fighter themed. I don't think it is, but we'll see. We're also adding in the ability to queue up with up to 4 players or queue with a full party of 8, so you and your friends can really find out who the best gladiator is. I wonder if you could do ranked with that, because ranked is sort of inlaid into the mode. But anyway, with new mechanics, augments, and cameos, so they are still doing cameos, probably not Soul Fighter though, there's plenty to learn and experiment with, to be sure to check it out. So, just to kind of talk about Arena real quick, I think Arena was a smash hit. I really, really liked Arena. It was quick, it was fun, it was wacky, it was silly, it was somewhat roguelike, which I very much enjoy. I think Arena was great. I'm glad it's back. I hope they add even more crazy arguments, because if you can break the game, which is the main reason I play roguelikes, I like what I like what's going on. I like what you're doing. So you could definitely break the game with the old Arena. It wasn't easy, like you definitely had to get lucky. But one of my first games on Arena, I had Samira with a Warwick attached to me, like a Yumi, while I had Fiora ult, while I was ulting. So, and this is old Fiora ult for those of you who don't understand. So I was invulnerable, hitting people, while my ult was going off, AoE hitting people, while Warwick was attached to me, flying around while I was invisible, hitting people, also hitting people. it was just not fair and it was ridiculous. And it was so fun. I think Arena's so good. It's quick, it's fast, it's great. I don't know if there's a pass coming out to go along with this. I really hope there is, but I really, really like it. Anyway, I wonder what the new cameos are going to be. So I'm very excited for the new augments, though. I hope they make the game as unbalanced as ever, because that's what's fun. Excuse me. In other news, we also have the last Clash of the Year coming for ARAM! Yay! So I'm definitely going to play that. Watch out for that on Twitch TV/Tecnics channel, because that thing actually has a defined time, so you know for sure I'll be streaming it. So a delightful batch of new Winter Bless skins is coming, which we'll look at, and a new Mythic shop rotation, and more. So let's check out the full patch. So here's a little preview of it. We're not going to read any of this shit. So this is a big change right here. Now, this is something I think they might say is quality of life. I think this is a hardcore buff to just players. So listen to this. In this patch, we've added a new toggle setting that will affect how champions cast their abilities when players input the command outside of max range. Go to Options, Game, Clamp Cast Target Location within max range, and boom. With the toggle turned on, abilities will automatically be cast at max range if the ability was cast outside of range. So, what does this mean? Essentially speaking, and this was a big issue with certain champions, because some champions had this, some didn't. And of course, my grandfather's going to cough his lungs out right next to me. Always while I'm recording this. So anyway, what does this mean? This means that, let's just say you were playing Nasus and you wanted to E. If you casted E outside of range, you would walk until you are in range to cast it at max range. Now you will cast it at whatever the max range is, even if you're casting it beyond what you could. This change is massive, because again, it would really fuck with your head, where for some champions you do this, for others you wouldn't. I believe Lux was one they changed it for back in the past. But other champions you would have to walk up, and it would actually fuck with you a lot. This is where even when you memorize the range and the distances, you would still get it slightly wrong, and you'd have to walk a little bit, and in some select scenarios, it would actually fuck you up. So I love that this is now a toggle. I love that even though Riot is usually taking stuff away from us in terms of chat and in terms of pinging our teammates, they seem to be going more of like, we're not giving you an option, we're just taking it away. I like here we have this option because this actually affects gameplay. This is great. Now just give us chat back so I can ping my teammate alive. Anyway, here we finally have Hui, Jin Sun. Every mark should have meaning. Make your mark with Hui tomorrow, because today's December 5th and he comes out on the 6th. So, what do I think of Hui? I love Hui. I don't know if he's going to be good, because every gameplay clip they show of him, it was similar to Cassant, but look how Cassant ended up. I thought Cassant was garbage, and in the hands of normal players, he pretty much is. But in the hands of pros, he's actually ridiculous. So, every clip that Riot has showed with Hui has been him just kind of dominating, but it's been him extremely fed and not one-shotting. So he's not necessarily a burst mage, he's more of an AoE mage. But just looking at his kit, obviously I don't know his scalings, but looking at his kit and especially his passive, it being a damaging one as it is, I feel like he's going to do a lot of AoE damage. Not like one-shot nuke damage, but definitely like huge chunk damage. And obviously you need to land your abilities. He's basically the mid lane Aphelios. And I like that. He's actually not that complicated, even though he looks complicated. A lot of people have related him to a Dota 2 character, which I've forgotten the name of, but it doesn't matter because that game's for losers. So I really like Hui. He's very interesting, very cool. I think certain abilities are just going to be basically pretty good, because each QWE that you do basically has a sort of gimmick with it. Or not a gimmick, more of like a theme, right? Q is the damage side. W is, I think, the utility side. And then E is the CC side. I could be mixing that up, but I know for sure the Q is the damage side. So that's probably the one people are going to spam the most. But I'm very excited for Hui. I'm going to play him, especially in Arena, but everywhere else too. And he's probably going to be added to my very low roster of mid lane champions. And I'm very excited. So Hui is very cool. So Azir, what do we think of Azir? I honestly don't know why they're going to change champions this much, because the new items are going to come out and it's going to be a balance nightmare, I feel like. So any changes here, I really feel like honestly don't matter. So I'm just going to go through them kind of quickly. So what are they doing with Azir? They're increasing Azir's W damage. So what do they think? So recently they did buff Azir, so now his soldiers do proc on hit, which apparently they never did, which confused the fuck out of me. So, Nashor's Tooth finally does as it should on him, but obviously they didn't make it 1-to-1. It does less damage than it should. But let me see. Landry's Nashers, Luden's Nashers, and Crown Nashers are all performing a little bit worse than they were. Wow. I'm actually shocked that they're performing worse. Granted, they did nerf him preemptively because they thought he would be too good, but I guess it was too much. So now his AP ratio is staying the same, but his base damage is going up on the scaling. Or not on the scaling, on the flat level increase. It's going up by 8. This is really nothing. Cool. Braum. I have not seen Braum in forever, honestly. I feel like Braum is really just eclipsed by other supports. A lot of other engaged supports do what he does a lot better. And in a meta that we've been in for a while where we barely even get ADCs with supports anyway, when you go to support, you're not going to want to protect the AD anyway. So I feel like Braum just is not really the flavor of the month. Or the year, rather. So, what are they doing? Braum has some very sharp matchups in his current state. He's extremely strong as a counter-engage into Vanguards, which aren't played, and is very weak into most ranged matchups where he doesn't really get to do anything, because if you don't land Q, you basically do nothing, because it's really hard to go up to the enemy and beat the shit out of them, because then you can't save your AD, which is the entire point of your kit. So, while he does... Oh, fuck, sorry. While he should be best served as a true defensive warden, which he basically is, we like to give him more agency in those weaker matchups. Mana regen should allow him more freedom to use abilities, while a better Glacial Fisher will let him accomplish more outside of lane, so not for the ADC, while still being suboptimal for pure engage, which I think is fair. I think Braum, sadly enough, if you're not good at engage, you're not really that good of a support. You're a very niche pick. I think Braum is a niche pick, because again, he's an anti-engage. What Riot is saying here is true. But you don't really have engages in general. You have fucking stupid-ass mages and stuff. And even if you have an engage, how do you counter it? Another engage. Whoever kills the enemy ADC first wins. So his mana regen's going up. I feel like this does nothing. And then the R Glacial Fisher knockup is going from 0.3 to 0.6 as minimum. And then secondary target 0.3 to 0.6. I mean, it helps. It's doubling, but it's still less than a second. So I feel like it really does not matter. I feel like they need to make this 1 second for Braum to be somewhat relevant, at least with his ult. And you can still miss the ult, too. It's not like it's an easy thing to land, per se. It is a skill shot, so I feel like it could have the added benefit of at least being a second. But it is what it is. Anyway, moving on to my lovely girl, Briar. So, Briar has been basically the beating stick for Riot. I think she obviously came out weak. I'm basically going to be repeating what I repeat every time. Briar came out pretty weak, and then as time went on, people basically figured out she was pretty oppressive stat-wise if you can actually get her to hit the right person. I think Briar's late game is actually really fucking good. Now, just knowing what I know, I haven't really seen Briar, and all the Briars I have seen, and the few that I have, they basically just int. But even when inting, I mean, Briar basically has to have a good kit because you can't control it. You need to be strong if you're giving away that amount of control. So, I guess it's still not balanced because I feel like we're going to get nerfs, even though I don't think she should. I feel like Briar is going to get ruined, but that's just me. So, Briar continues to devour her opposition in the jungle as players continue to get better at her. Bro, there's no way. So we need to pull her power back a bit more. Oh, Jesus Christ. While we're nerfing all her builds with these changes, we're targeting lethality builds more. So they really don't want you building lethality, which is ironic because I think that's one of the funner builds, even though that's not a real word. And I think her crit build is actually pretty good too. But I guess they really just want you to build one build on her, which is Fighter. To that end, we're shifting R to magic damage and throwing in a buff to her attack speed ratio. With the attack speed ratio change, Briar's overall attack speed will be higher when building Stridebreaker, while staying close to the same on builds that don't purchase any. This should make up for her nerf to W. So what are they doing? Her base armor is going down by 2. This actually does matter a little bit. Not too much, but a little bit. Her attack speed ratio is going up. I don't really know what this means in terms of actual changes, but it is better over time, I guess. So the Q. The Q is not getting touched scaling-wise, but it's losing 20 base damage later. That's fine. The W. The bonus attack speed is going down by 5%. This is honestly fine because, again, it does end up being a buff if you're building Stridebreaker. And if you build more attack speed, you're probably getting more out of this anyway. So actually, I'm fine with this. Chilling Scream, her E, now has less damage reduction. I think that's fine because you do heal from this as well. But they're reducing the healing as well. But honestly, these nerfs are not bad. It's just a lot of them. It's little cuts, as Gwen would like to say. And then her R. So instead of being physical damage, it is now getting nerfed on the bonus AD ratio. It's getting buffed AP-wise, God knows why. And it's going up in base damage, but it's not doing magic. Honestly, I think this is fine. I feel like overall this might actually help her. Obviously, it hurts lethality builds, but fuck lethality builds anyway. Riot wants to make sure that's gone, so fine. We have to, step to their dance kind of here. But I think this is better because it's harder to itemize against Briar. I mean, not too much, obviously, but the ult is going to do a decent amount of damage. Like, the fact that it scales off AD and AP, which you should have none, but if you do, whoop-de-doo. But it scales off AD, but it does AP, which is like, how the fuck do you itemize against that? It's the same thing with Kai'Sa. It's like, what the fuck? But I overall think these nerfs aren't too bad. I really hope they don't nerf her more because Briar is just becoming weaker and weaker. Granted, maybe they have the stats to back it up, but I think stats do not dictate the full game. But I really hope Briar doesn't get touched again. Galio! They keep touching Galio. I feel like they want Galio to be good, and World is over, so I don't really know why. But, let's see. We're back again to follow up on our Galio changes, so he's still not performing as well as we'd like him to. Our last two adjustments were intended to buff Galio's unique strength as a semi-global ultimate anti-mage durability, which is basically almost what he is. I feel like they're definitely getting there. This round, we're giving Galio players more individual power in the form of lowering his Q cooldown. Oh, shit! So this is ironically where I feel like if you make the Q too good, they're just going to go AP Galio. Because the Q is a very impressive ability. It's not hard to land. It's just, it has to be bad. But this is where, like, it's his really only bread and butter, aside from if he's engaging. If he's being played as a mage, his Q is perfect. So I don't really understand why they're buffing the Q. They want to reach this middle ground where he'll do somewhat damage, but also be somewhat of an anti-mage tank, which I think is, like, impossible to really do in reality. But let's see. So, the cooldown is going from 10 seconds to 8 seconds. That's really good. Galio is going to feel a decent bit better. Not bad. Gragas, the rabble rouser. So I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's because I play with a friend who loves Gragas. But I've been feeling like Gragas has just been popping up more in my life recently. Maybe it has to do with the spirit of Christmas, because I feel like during Christmas he kind of is related to that. He looks like Santa, except a fat fucking giant drunk. But I don't know. I've been healing a lot more of Gragas, so I feel like they're going to buff him because he's definitely not what he was. So let's see. Passive cooldown now decreased with levels. So in 13.12, where that was probably near the beginning of the year, or maybe in the middle, we released a Gragas nerf that increased his passive cooldown from 8 to 12 seconds. We've updated this to have his passive scale down as the game goes on. This is intended to give Gragas players more frequent access to his passive at later points in the game. This is where Gragas was very impressive because he's really good at just staying alive. Like, he is a fucker. Back in the day, you used to one-shot people with Gragas. Well, you can't do that anymore. You still do decent amount of damage and are decently tanky. It's just, I think, like, Gragas is a little hard to play, and he has a high skill ceiling for sure. But the fact that this now goes down to 6 seconds later on is a massive fucking buff, because he heals a lot from this passive. So this is pretty good. Ivern, the jungler that doesn't know his place anymore because they took all of what was unique to him almost and gave it away to everyone. Especially in the new season where now everyone's going to get the buff, not just one person. So let's see what they're doing. I think they should buff him. Ivern remained unaffected when other junglers' clears were made slightly slower in 13.20, obviously. As a result, he's become one of the best junglers in the current game. I doubt that. We like to take a small swing at his high base health and hopes on balancing him against other junglers, making him a bit more vulnerable to invades. Because the passive Friend of the Forest health cost is based on Ivern's base health. This change will have no impact on his ability to clear camps unless he gets directly damaged by enemies. Beyond that, we're taking a small bite out of Trigger Seed Slow, which is the E. So they're slightly nerfing Ivern. I don't know. I feel like Ivern is just not even used in general. Maybe it's the reality of, because he's not used by most people, the people that do use him are really good at him. That might be the case, but I don't know. I feel like Ivern's such a weird champ. It's so sad what happens to him. But his base health is going down a little bit, which is fine. And then the slow is going down by 5%. Death by 1,000 cuts, but sad to see Ivern nerfed here. Next, yes, Cassant. So I don't even know what the fuck's going on with this champion. I'm assuming because I'm not seeing an entire essay that they're getting something right and they're close to where they want him. But who knows. We overshot our nerf on Cassant last patch, but we're happy with the parts of his kit that we addressed. Oh, I'm sure they are. Excuse me, I'm disgusted. Now that we've nerfed the lane safety provided by his Q, we're aiming to buff him by making Pathmaker, his W, a more active part of his laning phase through softening its mana cost and increasing his reliance on gold income. What? Okay, so the mana cost is going down. The damage is... Jesus Lord. So the base damage is unchanged. The AD scaling is unchanged, even though you're not supposed to build AD on him. You're getting more out of it from bonus armor and MR. And it's doing the same max health. Yeah, I don't know what this is, man. Like, Cassante is just so weird. This champion is so fucked. Like, I just think back to the Showmaker clip where where like fucking Showmaker watches a poor innocent ADC get Cassante ulted and then beat the shit out of. And he's just saying League of Legends. Wow, League of Legends. It's so funny how much people complain about this game, but they still play it, me included. But yeah, no, I don't know what's going on with Cassante. I'm not even gonna attempt to figure it out. I feel like this guy is near unusable by regular players, which is fine. I feel like you should have people like Hwei and Aphelios and Cassante that are pretty much only gonna be used by professionals, but it's just like, bro, this guy seems like a nightmare for them, but it doesn't bother me. Cassante's cool. I like Little Nas X. Anyway, Leona. What do I think of Leona? I think Leona is extremely strong. I think they are going to nerf her. I think she solos the AD in the early. Granted, the only bad thing about Leona is I feel like her range is a little bit low. But overall, I feel like Leona is one of the best supports if people are actually playing support. So let's see. Leona isn't the shining beam of light she once was and could use a bit more power. I see, so I am just completely fucking wrong. Interesting. As far as Riot is concerned, at least. Um, in order to get her glimmering again, we're aiming to enhance her ability to all-in. I feel like her all-in's already pretty good. She has to commit harder to her engages than other similar supports, which is true, but her engage is already really good. And her engage capability is a primary weapon for picking her. True. We're targeting her R damage and late game W resistance specifically to give her more power in a way that doesn't affect her first few levels. So this is what I believe about all engaged tanks and just tanks in general, aside from maybe Ornn. But even I feel like Ornn suffers from this, is tanks are not tanky. I feel late game, unless you're playing Scion and Ornn, and you're not being stupid with Scion, like going lethality or some bullshit, I feel like tanks just don't feel tanky anymore. I feel like tanks die way too quickly. Or maybe Mundo. Maybe Mundo is another exception. But, like, dude, I don't get what is going on, but I feel like tanks just don't live as much as they used to. There's so much armor, MR shred. There's so much penetration. That's what she said. Where it's just like, they're just not as tanky as they used to be. You don't really need to pick Vayne anymore because you could just shred tanks anyway. Obviously, Vayne's going to do it better. Oh, and Rammus, by the way. So Rammus, Scion, Mundo, and Ornn are basically the four people I think are giga tanky. Maybe Maokai as well. But aside from them, everyone else just is not that tanky. And even them, I could see them just getting like chopped down. And it's not what it used to be. There used to be times, oh, and Malphite obviously, of course, too. There used to be times where I used to see Malphite, and this guy with like 4 Earth Dregs used to be unkillable. Now, he's definitely gonna last, but it's just not what it used to be. I don't know what it is. I think it's just like the penetration and armor MR shred creep of the game. But that might be changed because everything's going to be changed with new preseason. So anyway, let's see what they're doing. Because again, I think tanks don't last that long, especially in the late game in fights. They die pretty quick. So the bonus armor is now going up to 50. That's pretty good. Plus another bonus. And then the bonus MR is getting the same sort of treatment. That's pretty good. Just 10 extra, which is not that much because you're going to have so much already. And then her R, Solar Flare, is going up by 50. At all points in the game. Wow. Again, I feel like early Leona actually can beat the shit out of the ADC by herself. Her cooldowns are low enough, and she has a damage proccing passive to where, I believe it's on the W too, to where it's just like, she will kill you. So this is good. I actually agree with this. Any reason for engaged supports to be used, I'm all for it, especially if you're making them tankier. The damage part, I'm a little, but everything else is cool. So then we have Lucian. So Lucian is getting one of the skins. So I'm assuming he's going to get buffed. What do I think of Lucian? I think he's okay. He obviously doesn't hard scale, but he is a fun AD if you want to play him. But if you get behind on him, he basically does nothing, which is most ADs anyway. The only thing I wish with Lucian is that he would have regular ADC range. Granted, that might make him too good because he is pretty oppressive if he gets going. He is a, I don't want to say he's a hyper carry, but he is like a massive snowballing champ. But we gotta see. I definitely think he's sort of middle of the pack, bordering on not that good anymore. Because scaling ADs and early game ADs, I think, are probably the best right now. Mostly scaling, though. I think scalings are always the best. But anyway, what are they doing? So, Lucian is currently struggling in solo queue and can use a helping hand, since our last two adjustments were to his vigilance passive, aka what made him good with supports, because he was going in mid lane, which he's relying on his team for. We're now choosing to buff something that will give Lucian players themselves more power. We've decided to reduce his cooldown on Z. That's actually really fucking big. Lucian's E is one of the cruxes of his kit. As Lucian is supposed to be powerful early, and this cooldown has some room to go down and still scale by mid-game. So, they're reducing it by 22, 21, 20, 19, by 3 whole seconds early. So late game, they're doing nothing. Early, they're giving it a big buff. I think this will help actually good players. Bad players, this is going to do nothing for, because bad players don't use the E anyway. Actual people who know how to be aggressive, this is going to help you a decent amount. Lucian is pretty good with this, actually. His E is a very important ability. Again, one of the cruxes of his kit. So, then we have Der Kaiser. I actually really like Der Kaiser. I think Der Kaiser is sort of a neo-classic champ. And what do I mean by that? We have champions like Tryndamere that are very simple, right? You do one thing on them. They're pretty easy to counter, but they do their one thing well. I feel like Mordekaiser is a common, or not common, he is a modern day example of that. Mordekaiser is pretty simple, but I feel like he's also pretty fucking good. Now, again, if you counter him, he kind of does nothing, except he does something with the ult. He could kind of take someone out. But I feel like Mordekaiser, if he gets fed, he could do a lot. Like, he is really good. I really like Mord. Now, granted, I feel like the higher up in elo you go, the worse Mord becomes, because, again, he is a simple sort of guy. If you just, walk away from him, you kind of win. And if he doesn't land a Z, you really can just walk away from him. So even with the ult, the main thing I have a problem with Mord is his ult does not live up to his fantasy. Stealing the stats only while they're dead is fucking ass, especially in lane. Like, in lane, it's fucking useless unless you're getting ganked. And this is where, with Mordekaiser's whole lore, because in the lore, Mord is a huge person. Like, it's insane how strong this guy is. So, I feel like in-game, to kind of match that, they could do a buff to his ult, where, yeah, you steal the stats while they're dead, but you retain, like, 1% of it if you kill them permanently throughout the game. You just, like, you can ultimate scale, because most of the time, you might not kill them, and if you do, 1% is not that big a deal. Granted, it could start getting a little oppressive as time goes on, but realistically, how many times are you going to ult a game? Like, what? Maybe 10 max? So if you kill 10 people max, you're going to get 10% of their stats overall, which I think is fair if you're getting that late into the game as Mord, because Mord is supposed to be, again, in the lore, an animal of a fucking issue. So, that's just me, but it is what it is, and I feel like that would actually help a lot of his issues. Or, not a lot, but it would definitely make him better. Anyway, Mordekaiser isn't performing particularly well at the moment, so we're taking a look under his rusty metal hood. Hey, yo. First, a quality of life change to prevent the Fog of War from canceling his ultimate, which was a big issue. And I wouldn't even say this is quality of life. I would say this is a bug fix. So, second, he's getting AP ratios buffed to his Q with the goal of letting him build ability power in more of his games. Yeah, this is where a lot of times now Mord just tries to outlast people. He does good damage with his passive because it's percent health, but overall, you're not incentivized to build too much AP on him. You're more incentivized to be similar to what they want for Briar, which is a fighter. Some AP, some tank. But instead of transitioning into tank I'm so quickly. So I actually believe that Mord should be AP, but he should be a hefty guy. I think he should be a mage fighter. But anyway, what are they doing? So the Q is going up in scaling by 10%. That's pretty good. And you have to remember, this is a double buff technically, because when you're isolated, when he's just hitting only you with this, it's going to do even more damage. So that's pretty good. And then the Realm of Death, you can run. So, casting Realm of Death will now reveal the target upon starting the cast. This means that walking into a bush while Mord is casting it won't put his spell on cooldown and basically say F you to him. The target will not be revealed for the entire duration of the spell, so you can still hide on a bush if he comes with you to the realm. So that's good. So again, it's not a straight buff, but I would honestly count this as a bug fix, not a quality of life. Like, it's stupid that that's what happened. But anyway, Mord is slightly better from this, and I like it because I play Mord sometimes. Kiki. So Kiki is one of the people that if you want to be flashy, if you want to be cool, and if you are really skilled at the game, you play her mid lane or maybe jungle. But she is one of the highest skill ceiling champions, I think, in the game. The amount of combos with her and how cool they look and how effective they are, I think, is second to none. The other person that was like is sort of Akali, but Akali, I feel, got smacked too much with the nerf hammer. And you can't really do it on Akali as much anymore. So it's basically just Kiana, but Kiana is really hard to do it on. So what are they doing? Kiana is a very high skill cap champion who only performs above average in very high skill brackets, which again is fine. We don't expect to truly change this fact, but we still like to make her a little more forgiving. Oh! We noticed that she's a pretty frequent Mana Moon purchaser, so with these changes, we'd like for you to have a cake and eat it too. If you don't buy Mana Moon, you have more mana to play with, and thus you don't need tier as badly. But if you do buy Mana Moon, you'll have even more AD. Cool. So everyone wins except her opponents. I actually agree with this change. I feel like Kiana is very hard, and regular players do not play her, except if you get good at her, it visually looks like so sexy. You know, she looks sexy too, but visually doing Kiana combos actually just gets me hard. So her base mana is going up by 50, and then her mana growth is going up by 10. They're really giving her a decent amount of mana. Wow, Kiana's slightly better. Talon! What do I think of Talon? Talon was the guy touted as the guy to get the most first bloods most often. I don't really know what happened to him. He's still pretty annoying. And I've been hearing some new stuff with the new season about assassins and how they're somewhat good again. But we're not going to go over that here, because we're going to go over that in the at least 2 hour fun power struggle, excuse me, of the new patch, the preseason patch, or I guess the new season patch, because there is no technically preseason anymore. So what are they doing to Talon? How do I feel about Talon? I've never seen this guy for months. I feel like Talon is kind of ass. He's annoying, and I feel like he's actually only really used in higher skill levels. But let's see. So, what are they doing? Quality of life. When cast at range, Q will now reset Talon's attack timer. Oh, this has been updated to match the function of his Q when cast at melee range. Okay, yeah, it's a little quality of life thing. Talon's slightly better, cool. So, Vel'Koz. I wonder if now because he got a skin, people are actually using him and finding out that he's kind of hard and sucks dick. But let's see. Hopefully he gets buffs, because I feel like he's very hard and the amount of use you get out of him is not equivalent to his difficulty. So, as part of this patch, we had planned to do some follow-up work on Vel'Koz, but these changes weren't quite ready. Oh. Part of these changes were bug fixes which were ready, so instead of waiting to patch them both at the same time, we're patching the bug fixes a bit earlier. So, Vel'Koz is going to get buffed eventually, I think. Unless there are nerfs, which I'm scared of. But let's see. So, the Void Rift fixed the bug where the first half of the rift would fizzle if Vel'Koz died directly. That's actually a really big bug. I actually know that one. That's really good that they fixed that. And then E fixed a bug where the spell would fizzle out if he flashed or got knocked up at max range. That's crazy. And then the missile will now spawn at Vel'Koz's original location if he flashes or is knocked back during the cast. Oh wow. I guess that's a buff. Okay, cool. Vel'Koz is a little bit better. Okay, Zeri. What do I think of Zeri? I think Zeri is, again, wow, they're really touching a lot of the skill cap champions here. I feel like Zeri is not a champion used by normal people. She's very hard. Obviously, in Pro, they use her a lot, which is telling of the type of character she is. And she's been a little bit of an issue, similar to Cassandra, but I feel like not as bad. I think the worst one we've ever seen is Yuumi. I don't think anything will get as bad as Yuumi, but Cassandra is definitely second. And Zeri is third. But I really hope they buff Zeri, because Zeri is just kind of ass in regular games. So what are they doing? Zeri hasn't been zipping and zapping around like she used to yet because her fantasy is dead. And her battery power level is low, so we're giving her a small damage buff with the goal to amp up her ever so slightly. This is where I feel like her damage is whatever, it's just her fantasy sucks dick. Like, her whole fantasy was like, you're going to be a speed demon, where now, like, it's barely even a fantasy. Obviously, the fantasy went out of control, but I feel like they went so far from what it was when she launched. Like, now you don't even notice that you get move speed with her. Because the fight's either over too soon or it doesn't matter. Like, I feel like it's so trash. So her AD growth is going up by 0.7. That's okay, I guess. And then her Ultra Shock Laser is going up in base damage. And that's it. Wow. Okay, Zeri's not that good. She's still the same. Okay, cool. Here we go. Ranked Season Schedule. This is the part I want to know. And I have gladly, I forgot to say this on any of these videos, but if you go on my stream, you'll know this. I have finally passed my previous limit of Platinum 1. I am now an Emerald tier player. And I could do more if I wanted to, but League is toxic and I don't really feel like playing it because there's no pass. So I got Emerald. I can easily get Diamond if I so please, and I could probably get Challenger, but I gotta let people have their time in the sun. I'm a little bit of an old man when it comes to League now, even though I'm only 25, which is, by gaming standards, an old man. But anyway, so ranked season schedule update. Let's see when I'm going to start grinding ranked again to get my new rank. So, 2023 Season 2 split ends at January 9th. So, wait, what? Oh, so it goes into the new year. Oh, shit. Okay. And then the 2024 split 1 starts on January 10th. Okay, so we have some time with the new patch then, I believe, to get ready for ranked. That's nice. The season transition experience will be similar to what we had in the past. Rank queues will be disabled and will be brought back as soon as 14.1 goes up and a couple hours after that. Split 2 will be officially launched. The ranked games will be played during the downtime. Don't count. So that's basically the new preseason. Shard transfer. Okay, shard transfers will be disabled. Okay, cool. So this is just saying when the time is. Nice. All right, so Arena. Let's see what's going on with this. Hey Gladiators, we're incredibly excited for you to see all the new items, augments, and balance updates we've been working on. So I'm actually glad they're putting new items. Holy shit. There are a lot of new changes to cover. You can find the nitty-gritty details below, but if you want to get straight into the action, here's a quick summary of all the biggest things to look out for. For in the Rings of Wrath. Oh my god. This is where I wish they would tell us when, and in the patch notes, I mean, they would tell us in the patch notes when we're going to have like a new pass come out. Because without Surrender 20, you know, rest in peace. I still will never forget Surrender 20. I don't know when anything is coming out because I don't have an aggregate only, league only news site. Because I want it to be just for League, not all this other game bullshit. But anyway, let's see. A huge amount of class and individual champion balance changes. Hex gates have been added to all 4 arenas. That's actually really good. Death is not the end. After delay, you can revive your dead teammates by standing on their body. Wow, so if the enemy is pussying, that you can actually res your people. That's really good. We've removed the Neferi, Samira, Shaco, Virgo. What? Virgo? Do they mean Viego? Viego, Lux, Evelyn, and Jin cameos, and we've added Silas and Thresh. Oh, okay. 4 new items and 60 new augments. Very exciting. Due to the amount of balance adjustments made, this patch lists will only contain the numbers being changed and not the entire equation. Cool. So Hex Gates are in. Nice. You can revive your teammates. Nice. And later on in the game it is, the sooner you could do it. Nice. Revive duration is cumulative. If you spend 1 second near your down to ally, then come back, it will only take 2 seconds. Okay, cool. So you don't have to do it in one go. Revive duration decrease based on the revive's heal shield power. When you are revived, you become invulnerable to and unable to cast for 0.75. So you can't get insta, one shot when you get up. That's cool. You get some damage reduction, move speed, tenacity. See, this is crazy. They're adding so much to this mode. I wonder if this mode is actually going to become permanent. It probably won't, similar to Earth, but they're probably going to abuse the shit out of it and just bring it back over and over and over again. In order to revive an ally, the ally must not be reviving with another effect or ability, obviously. Cool. So, cameos. Now the only cameos that are in are Silas, and then Thresh. Cool. So, new items. I'm not going to go over these because I don't really care. Actually, let me look at them. So, Sword of the Blossoming Dawn. So, it gives AP, healed, and shield power. So, this is for supports. Gain attack speed. What? Passive Peppermint. On hit. Heal the lowest tally champion for you. Oh, wow. So, it's basically, the support item that fucking heals you currently. I forgot what it's called. Moonstone Renewer, I think it's called. Anyway, Perplexity. So a mage item. Wait, no, it has armor pen. What? What the fuck? This has armor pen and magic pen, but it only gives AP. That's weird. Okay. Hellfire Hatchets, which gives you lethality, Omnivamp AD. Hitting or damaging an enemy with an active ability, heal for 2% of the target's current health, apply 1 stack of burn. Oh, that's a good item right there. Oh my goodness, wow. And then Wordless Promise. So, make a promise to an ally. Gain 20% of your promised ally's ability power and grant your promised ally turn of your ability haste. Okay, so another kind of support item. Alright, cool. So, augments. Once 2 champions possess the same augment, the augment is removed from the pool. Interesting. So I guess now you kind of have to fight over augments. So if you reroll quick enough, you can actually take away augments from other enemies. That's cool. 60 augments have been added to the pool. We could share them all here. Well, we could share them all here. It's more fun to enjoy exploring and experience them. That's true. Nice. So, huge changes. This is the biggest thing I feel like held Arena back, which I'm glad they changed. So now instead of 2, you could go into 4. Notice when queuing with 3 players, the party will give an option to select who will be matched with a random player. That's interesting. So you can choose if you want to be paired up together or not. That's actually really cool. And then rating restriction. Players with Gladiator rating can only queue with other Gladiator rated players. Nice. So they are bringing back the ranking system. And then private matchmaking. A full party of 8 can queue together for an unrated game. Nice, but you could still probably get regular rewards as well. That's actually really cool. And then rating system changes. So gold tier is going up, gladiator tier is going up as well. Because basically, if you just play enough, you'll get it. It's really easy to get, I feel like, from how many people got it. Arena ratings from initial launch have been reset. All players will begin in wood tier with a 500 rating. Huh. And then general balance changes. Okay, I'm not going to go over all of this. This is too much. I don't really care. Yeah, oh my god. Is this how long this shit is? Holy fucking shit. Okay, I was about to go over all of it. Jesus Christ. This would have been longer than the preseason. Or the new season. And then augments, balance adjustments. I'm not going to read all this. And anyway, it's all new. What is this? That's with 40 AP. Wow. Okay, and then new arena challenges. So cream of the crop. Okay, no one cares. And then ARAM balance changes. No one cares. The ARAM Cup, like I said, I'm going to be playing that at Twitch TV Tecnics channel. So it's cool. And then Mythic Shop rotation. So the Mythic Shop is getting very big now, especially for Christmas. Wow. And then bug fixes, we don't care. Cosmetic bug fixes, we don't care. So anyway, now the new skins. So we have Crystallis Modus Ash, which I actually might get just because I'm an AD player and Ash is pretty alright. Obviously, this is going to be the gemstone skins, but I have a lot of gemstones. So I'm probably going to get that. Or sorry, Mythic Essence, as they like to call it. So, yeah, I'm probably going to get that. I haven't seen any of these skins because, again, Surrender at 20 is dead. But I'm assuming they're probably good. But let's see. Let's keep looking. So we have Winterblessed Camille. Very exciting that Camille's getting a new skin. And I think the theme actually fits her too. She's sort of like a little workshop thing with her legs anyway. So I feel like she kind of fits right into the Christmas theme. Excuse me. Again, I don't know how the in-game looks, but that's cool. I don't even know if any of these are legendary. I haven't heard any controversy, so I'm assuming no. But if this was a legendary for Camille, that'd be pretty cool. Winterblessed Thresh. I actually thought that was Hecarim, believe it or not, but I guess it's Thresh. Pretty cool skin for Thresh. Winterblessed Senna. Very cool skin for Senna. I feel like Senna has a lot of skins already, though, but whatever. Winterblessed Silas. So we're actually getting a new Ice Shipman. A festive-themed Ice Shipman. That's pretty cool. And the splash art looks sick as fuck, actually. That actually looks crazy. It looks like he's throwing one of his, like, anal beads at you, which is cool. Winterblessed Annie. We haven't gotten an Annie skin in how long, but I feel like it's long overdue, so this is good. Winterblessed Hecarim. I don't even know what's going on in the splasher except I see his feet. It's very hard to tell from this, but it looks cool. Winterblessed Lucian, which I think is one of the hardest splash arts we've gotten in a while. It looks like Lucian is literally executing you and you're on the ground just begging for forgiveness. Then, on release, we have Winterblessed Hwei, which is actually probably going to look really, really hot. I feel like Hwei is not going to get many skins because his kit has so many moving parts, which is really sad. It's the same thing with Phelios. That's why Phelios didn't get skins for a little bit. It's because they had to model a lot of different things with his weapons. But it's cool that Hwei is getting this on release. I actually really like that. And then Prestige Winterblessed Camille. So that kind of throws out the window that Camille is getting the legendary. I don't think there is a legendary here. Well, at least I don't know. But anyway, Prestige Winterblessed Camille looks very high society, very rich. Definitely she could step on me a little bit. But overall, these skins look pretty good. I really like the holiday stuff. The sad thing about Riot that I always get reminded of during the holiday stuff, especially Halloween and Christmas, is it's not like old Riot anymore. Old Riot actually made fun game modes and stuff, and I felt like was less corpo, was less business. Now, they still do care about their players, but it does feel more business. Granted, we're getting Arena now, but it just feels like the soul is sort of almost all gone with the game, and it's more of just like corporate heads trying to make money off of it. It's still fun, obviously, or people are just sick and keep playing it, but it definitely does not feel like it used to with the old Snowdown stuff, because Snowdown isn't even a thing anymore. We don't even have Snowdown, which is very sad. But it is what it is. It's still alright, but it's just very sad to see. But anyway, here's the chroma, so I could kind of see the end games. It's hard to see, but yeah, Annie looks pretty good. Silas looks interesting. And Hwei looks pretty fucking cool. I think Lucian's chromas and Silas's are probably the best. Oh, Senna's look good too. Wow. I mean, all the chromas are pretty good. I feel like over time the chromas have gotten better. But decent set of skins, a lot of skins, and for the champions they're releasing for, I don't have too many issues with. So, except like Thresh maybe, and so. But aside from that, everyone else is kind of good. Even though Lucian has a lot of skins, he hasn't gotten some in a while. But overall, that's the patch. I don't really know how to rate this because I feel like a lot of the champions were to skill-based people or high skill ceiling people, and a lot of this stuff again I really don't think matters because we're on the cusp of the new season anyway. It's like, what the fuck even is this? So overall, I'm probably just gonna rate this like a 5 out of 10. Nothing really annoyed me. I think this is a pretty neutral patch. I'm just gonna rate it 5 out of 10. It's great that Arena's coming back, but I'm not really including that in the patch itself because I mostly just look at the balance changes and what skins are being added. But the skins have not too much of an effect. It's mostly how do they change ADs. I guess them nerfing Briar is kind of sad, but they're not big nerfs, so it's not too bad. And again, who knows how Briar's going to land with the new item. She might be OP, because I've been seeing some stuff with Mundo. Good freaking lord, bruh. Tanks might actually come back into the meta, because they might start doing damage again. While being tanky. But anyway, yeah, I'm just going to say tentative 5 out of 10, just because we're on the cusp of big change. So that's going to be it. 5 out of 10 mark barrels. I hope everyone enjoyed. And like I said, Twitch TV says Tecnics channel. Hope to see you there. Eee!